I promised to tell you about the book, so here I am. There are 10 chapters and 10 fully published perfume formulas. The formulas are there as a narrative device. They're not there as overtly educational or for any other reason. The story is part told through them. And because I wanted to really fully expose my thinking in more ways than one through the book, I decided to publish the formulas as well. And in doing so, yes, this has a sort of a secondary purpose, maybe, that I'm transmitting sent through text to people who might want to have a go. And in fact, in the book, I'm giving permission for hobbyist, student, artisanal, and even practicing perfumers in their labs to go to their pipettes and compound the formulas that are featured. Obviously, don't sell them, but you don't therefore have to buy the sample set. On the other hand, if you do, then you can compare your results to mine. And the whole project is as non-commercial as possible. I did not want to create a brand. This is about creating the devices and the systems and the sort of vehicles necessary to tell you these stories through prose and perfume. And so we're donating 10% of the proceeds of the sample set to charity. We've done some little bit of fundraising to pay the independent artists that we featured. And we don't anticipate a great rush on this. It's going to be a very niche audience, but obviously we'll be very grateful. I'll be very grateful personally and delighted and moved if you get the book and read it, and maybe you'll find something interesting in there. Fair warning, it's very personal. It's semi-autobiographical. I've talked about some trauma that I've gone through, and then I've exposed all my political opinions in it. So if you didn't already know, there's quite a lot there that I stand for and I talk about. And inevitably, I cover some perfumery topics as well. So let me read you the chapter list and tell you a little bit about that. So clean belongs in shampoo. It's about clean beauty and how clean should be a wonderful sensation we experience, or the smell of a product that we want on ourselves, like a lovely shampoo or soap or shower gel. It shouldn't be a moral judgment, and certainly not used to market based on fear. And I've created a shampoo style fragrance for that. It's fun to wear. And it's inspired a little bit by the Finnish sauna experience as well, so you'll see. Then there's a cruelty-free musk against fascism, Antifa. There's another musk that is quite cruel, so this is the cruelty-free one. And I've created a fun, very twee pineapple accord for this, and the pineapple the symbolism of that will become clear when you read the chapter. Then foreign perfume ingredients. I talk about the whole trade, pulling back the camera a little bit. Not just France, not just Europe, not just perfumers, not just evaluators, not just brand owners, not just fragrance houses, but actually who makes all the raw materials. There's botanical ones and there's synthetic ones, and there's a whole lot of labor involved, and a lot of it is very global. A single bottle will have a dozen countries. The synthetic materials, the botanical materials, they will come from all over the place, quite literally. And I wanted to address some of the Orientalism as well. So I created a lovely vanilla amber fragrance for that chapter. And my favorite chapter to write was chapter 4. Well, actually, It's about toxic masculinity and selfishness, and written in a style of a folk tale somewhat. I reference in the kind of cadence of the story and how it's told. I dipped into some Finnish folk tales and folk beliefs, but also into Brothers Grimm, and then some creation myths, and I muddled all those up into a little piece of fiction, and that was tremendous fun to write. And that fragrance is a real kind of aquatic, masculine coded, and you'll understand how the fragrance and the story go together when you get the book. Have You Tried is probably the hardest chapter to read. It was very tough to write. It's about ableism, about trauma, about chronic illness. It features some really, really tough topics. And the accompanying accord is actually an aromatherapy blend rather than a perfume, really. So I've tried it in a nice healing cream, a very low inclusion level. So if you make that up at your end, play with it and see what you could use it in, maybe a rollerball. Fume, that's about all the shit that's happening right now: war, engineered famine, genocide. So then there's Fume. That was a really difficult chapter to write. It's about all the crap that's happening at the moment with war, violence, killing, injustice, and how naive it is to say, hey, let's all just hold hands and we're all the same and no more nukes. I went to peace protests since I was a child. I was in the biggest one that Finland's ever seen in the 80s. And, you know, have we matured as a species? Not really. If anything, we've got more effective at killing each other. So yeah, the accompanying perfume is expressing some of that frustration, and also the paradox that you don't maybe get rights from under an oppressor by asking nicely and writing a pretty letter or saying please. And so, yeah, it's about the paradox of pacifism, and it features an olive branch accord trampled under a smoky leather jackboot. Chemical, that chapter is about the fallacy that the word chemical is the opposite of natural, because of course everything, all matter is chemical, and so I created a 100% natural perfume to go with it, and that's actually been fun to wear. I've been wearing that this summer a lot. It smells like old school eau de cologne, and I mean old school, like the first eau de colognes created, and then really luxury soap, and we've nicknamed it Italian Grandpa. So I hope you enjoy that one. And then male gaze repellent is a green sheep, really sort of biting galbanum, big orris dry down, real oak moss. It's tremendous fun, and I can't wait for you to see the artwork that goes with it as well. And Dupe This is the only sample that we could not include in the kit, because I was trying to make a point that one of the possible outcomes from continuation of dupe brand culture, where predatory businesses steal labor and creativity from people who create interesting brands, from people who market them in such a way that they become aspirational, from the perfumers that come up with original accords. And this is not limited to corporations and sort of multinational, multi-brand owning companies. Dupe businesses steal from artisans and indies as well, although not as frequently, but still. And yeah, one of the possible outcomes is that the most desirable and interesting perfumes will be made undupable, by making them so expensive to begin with that only the 1% could afford them anyway. And so I used 50% oud in that chapter. There's a 35% of one, and then, you know, the rest is another. So I used 2 oud qualities in it. And we'll try to have some sort of events, maybe around this, maybe a talk or a salon or a gallery exhibition or something like that. And so we'll bring a spray along of this oud with us. Had we included it in the sample box, the box would have literally had to cost twice as much, again, all over. So we didn't feel that that was very accessible. But you get the formula, so if you have access to these oud qualities, go crazy. And then the last chapter is really about us all needing to be free, and very much focusing on trans rights, focusing on queer joy, trans joy. The last chapter is very important to me. I have trans and queer people all around me in my found family, and I'm trying to state something about feminism and about freedom, and about human rights in that last chapter, and also about celebrating the diversity of humanity. Humans aren't boring. We're not binary in any way. Nothing about us is simple. So why oversimplify it? And it's about patriarchy as well. It's about trying to scramble the signals a little bit. So the accompanying perfume is something that will probably behave quite differently depending on who's wearing it. I mean, all perfume does to an extent, but I've built quite a sort of masculine coded structure, a scaffolding, and then I made it very sweet and gourmand. And so we'll see how you like that one. Nick's been wearing a lot of that actually. So yeah, we'll see. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the video, and to everyone doing the pre-order, thank you, because we are self-publishing this. We're doing a print run with an indie press, and so we need to know how many to make and how much perfume to make as well. So your pre-orders will really, really help us. Enjoy my demo accords.